Hello and welcome to the Build with Bear Workshop. My name is Pat Bear. I'm here to build a model kit and to hang out with all of you. I'm throwing the Bear Cave, the Lego, the site, the emote in the chat. If you're and the tier 2 blue emote. If you're currently a subscriber, hit those emotes in there. Also throw those emotes in there because we're saying thank you to Ghost Valve, who used their Prime Gaming sub to subscribe for 17 months. And of course, Ghost Valve says almost a year. Spooky. No, it's not almost. 17 is more. You get it. Aristofan is here. Hello, Aristofan. Ghost Valve's here, of course. Thank you so much for using your Prime Gaming token so that I can have some money from Twitch. I hope Lastberg is here. Hello, Lastberg. Everyone's doing okay. Maybe you're doing great on this Saturday. I'm doing all right. Going to work on the Gundam Marine type Gundiver. You can see here we have almost completed the chest and backpack because I do it at once, which is neat. So we're going to work on that. We're going to finish that up, and then we'll move on to the head, which features 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 stickers, which I think is too many stickers, but it does. It features 6 stickers. Which you can imagine for, color correcting and all of that. But it's a cool kit, and I'm looking forward to working on it and hanging out with all of you. Tonight's agenda, what do we got in store for you? Let me look at the old Google Doc. We'll talk about some games a little bit. Talk about some anime in the second hour. I've got the second episode of a new show, the first episode of season 2 of a returning show, and the 13th episode of a show, or the first part of part 2. The first episode of part 2. I thought I was going to have another brand new show with episode 1, but that, unfortunately, I've somehow gotten stronger when I improve my farm-related skills. Episode 1 has been delayed a week, only from High Dive. It came out in Japan, but the High Dive subtitle will be out next week along with episode 2. I don't know why. So we'll be a week behind on that show. Or they'll just put 2 episodes out instead. Also, I should say up top, I don't know if I'm going to be on Monday, if I can talk about The Witch from Mercury. As far as I know, it should be streaming on Crunchyroll. But Gundam.info website, they also have the official Gundam website that also has a YouTube channel. They said there's a delay in having The Witch from Mercury available on their site. So their website. Now, I don't know if that was going to be available with English subtitles here in the US, what countries. I believe Gundam Info was just going to have it for countries that Crunchyroll doesn't have a like a streaming setup in, or a dub setup in. That's my thinking, but I don't know. So I guess we'll find out tomorrow or Monday if it shows up on Crunchyroll, but I hope it isn't delayed. And also it should be on Japanese television. Anyway, Gundam.info did not, unfortunately, include a whole lot of info. You'd think, what with it being a .info, that they would have all the info. But no one else has said anything about it. We don't know. And then also, let me actually just look this up, because I have heard that that Bleach is no longer on Crunchyroll. Old episodes of Bleach are no longer there, and I actually did not confirm that myself, but that appears to be the case, that Crunchyroll does not have Bleach anymore. The anime Bleach. The old episodes are no longer there. Now let's see if Bleach is on Funimation. Bleach the show. Okay, you can still watch some of Bleach. You can watch, let's see. Okay, you watch 109 episodes of Bleach as long as you are subscribed to Funimation. But you can't watch Bleach on Crunchyroll, which doesn't necessarily mean that the new season of Bleach won't be on Crunchyroll. But also, we don't know where it'll be. Latronica just used a Prime. That's another 14-monther. Well, 17 months. Sorry, I had that wrong there. But let's hit applause. Thank you very much. Levitronica for that. And let's throw the Bear Cave, the Lego, and the Scythe emote as a thank you very much for that. But yeah, there were rumors that that doesn't sound like the right amount of Bleach episodes. Yeah, I don't know, Lashbrook, if there were more than 109. Now, could this mean that the rumor that Disney Plus has the new Bleach show, could that be true? I still don't think so. It would be a weird get for Disney Plus to be like, we're picking up Bleach. Like, that's a strange one for them to go with instead of like an original show. Like, it would move the needle, but Bleach diehard fans obviously would get it, but they would be so goddamn mad. I don't know. I mean, who cares, I guess, if they're mad, but because they still would want to watch it. I don't know. We have like dates now. I thought, yes. So you have dates in Japan, right? There are dates in Japan of when the episode is airing of Bleach. But if I look at and I will once again just look at the news here for Crunchyroll. Just go on Crunchyroll's website and seeing if I can find the updated fall 2022 lineup as of yesterday. They include Chainsaw Man and you know, a bunch of the stuff they have, and they have some TBA. There is some stuff in there they haven't announced yet, because they sometimes they get way ahead of a thing, and other times a thing just shows up and it's there, and you're like, oh, that's where it ended up. And then the High Dive is usually very good about like, hey, these are the shows we have, and Crunchyroll sometimes isn't, which is weird. Okay, Crunchyroll is saying that they do have Mobile Suit Gundam airing tomorrow, but that could mean that it's still delayed because we don't know, because it's delayed it's delayed on Gundam.info, but we don't know. But yeah, they haven't mentioned, hey, we have Bleach. But that doesn't necessarily mean they don't have it. Oh, they do have Daily Life of the Immortal King Season 3. That's good that that's still coming out. But yeah, there's some TBAs that haven't been announced yet, so we don't know. I still feel like Bleach is going to be there, but Disney's Bleach. Yes, Lord Crash did. No, I mean when the new Bleach arc and the old Bleach stuff hits Disney Plus. See, yeah, again, Disney Plus Bleach. I don't know if there was an official announcement. Okay, so according to Anime Geek, there was a deal, and this is as of yesterday, so this is information that didn't hit my ears. So there we go. Bleach Disney Plus Hulu USA streaming deal. What it means for Uncensored Blood weekly episode release schedule. There you go. Bleach 1,000 Year Blood War is October 10th. I did know that. 48 to 52 Bleach episodes this year is 4 parts. There will be broadcast breaks between some of them. Disney Plus Japan, Hulu Japan, and Amazon Prime Video Japan. We did know that there'd be a bunch of things there, but the deal, let's see, Disney Plus deal source that was leaked before, you know, they own the rights. Crunchyroll lost the bidding war, supposedly. Okay. And that's why old episodes are no longer on Crunchyroll's website, but they're still on Funimation's website. And again, Sony owns Funimation and Crunchyroll. We'll talk more about that later. Okay, apparently, Disney Plus Canada was listing 1,000 Year Bleach War. But so far, as of right now, it has not been said. But it it looks like it's going to be on Hulu. Okay, there you go. In the United States, you can watch it on Hulu and maybe Disney Plus. But they have it, like, it wasn't part of any Disney announcements or Disney Plus announcements. So, seemed weird. Okay. So yeah, Crunchyroll lost it. Weird. That is strange. And then we don't know if, let's see. But yeah, I would say, I guess, if you really want to watch Bleach, pay for Hulu. And the answer to my response to that is no thanks. Turns out I will not be watching Bleach. Yeah, because I'm not paying for Disney Plus or Hulu. I pay for two streaming services. And as we get into model kit building, because I'm going to reply to my own tweet, let's get into building here. It's time to go. It's time to do this thing. As we get into model kit building here and working on the rest of this, I will say I pay for two streaming services, High Dive and Crunchyroll. And one of those streaming services is going to charge me more. Crunchyroll is increasing their prices from $7.99 local currency to $9.99 local currency per month in several countries, which include US, Canada, New Zealand, Europe, Chile, and Mexico. Who would have expected a Bleach bidding war in 2022? Yeah, I mean, one would imagine that Funimation and Crunchyroll would have just been like, we can both stream it if they weren't under the same owner. But yeah, Disney Plus really going for like internationally, we want this. But isn't it funny to think about how Amazon Prime Japan still shows anime? Like, remember when Prime the US was like, we have an anime channel, pay for Prime and extra money. And then that went away. But yeah, Amazon Prime Japan still has like shows. They still go for it. It is a strange thing. But anyway, yeah. So Crunchyroll's raising their price. And you may have remembered that in the summer, they dropped the price in several regions. And now they're increasing the prices in other regions. Now, those deals may have been local ordinances or some other thing, or like make goods with some, countries and stuff like that, or trying to combat piracy in certain countries to be like, hey, it's cheaper now to get it, so please watch us, or whatever it is. I don't know. I don't have those details. All right, 36. Oh, we got stickers to put on here too. Great. Now you might be thinking to yourself, Pat, why is Crunchyroll increasing their prices? Why would they do this? Didn't Funimation buy them? Didn't Sony buy Crunchyroll? Didn't they purchase their biggest competitor? Isn't it that there's Crunchyroll and then High Dive and Netflix and Disney Plus, and nobody's really a competitor? Yes, they're crashing. They're raising their monthly price for their lower tier. I should also point out that when Crunchyroll and Funimation merged, Crunchyroll got rid of watching shows with ads a week later of new content. Old content. If you want to watch old content, you can watch old content with ads without being a premium member. But now, starting in the spring of this year, if you want to watch the new shows, you have to pay them. There is no ad-supported model for new content. So they changed that, and now they're increasing the price in the United States and Canada and New Zealand, Europe, Chile, and Mexico. And you're like, well, Pat, what happened here, right? This is one company. They got rid of their competition. What's going on? What's going on with Funroll, Sony's Funroll? What's happening here? Well, according to them, as part of Crunchyroll's transition to a unified subscription service with Funimation, a necessary step to achieve completion of the unification is for Crunchyroll to adjust the prices. Let's see. With these changes, we can continue the expansion of show content. We get to keep up adding more dubs and offer more anime and manga services and content. You can already see a huge increase in shows already added. So, hey, we added content and you have to pay more. I do want to point out here, if I can, for a moment, that there was a glorious period in time, years and years, this few years ago, before Sony purchased Funimation, when Crunchyroll and Funimation came together with a common goal of having people pay them money to watch anime. And they came up with a plan, which was the shared library. That's right, the shared library. So you could pay for Crunchyroll and watch Funimation shows. Like if you wanted to watch Yu Hakusho, which is a Funimation show, you could watch it on Crunchyroll. And on Funimation, you could watch some Crunchyrolls. So if you were a Crunchyroll subscriber and you wanted to watch dubs, they didn't do dubs then. But you got all these Funimation dubs. And if you were on Funimation and there are some shows that are Crunchyroll exclusives, you can watch those. And it was glorious because you just paid for one service and you got both. And there were some exceptions, but for the most part, that's how it worked. And now there's Funimation content that you would have to pay for anyway that isn't on Crunchyroll yet, and they're slowly migrating more and more of it. You know, I talked about a show on Thursday that I watched there. But basically they're like, hey, this thing that we could do an easier way, we're not going to do it an easier way, and also pay us more to do this thing. Dirty to subscribe saying, yay, anime capitalism, subscribe for 38 months. Please throw the Bear Cave, the Lego, and the Scythe emote in the chat. And thank Dirty so much for 38 months, which is a ridiculous high number that we love to see here. Thank you so much for your continued support, Dirty. Thanks for using cash money to support me and this nonsense. So yeah, they're basically like, hey, hey, some of you were paying Funimation and Crunchyroll, and now you can't, or you can, but you shouldn't have to. Instead, pay us more. And of course they're doing that, right? I should put in at this point to say, this is not an ad. HiDive is $5 a month. They have dubs. They have subs. They have a smaller content, but they have probably a few things that you were like, I missed this show. Whatever happened to that show? It's on HiDive. And you might want to check it out. It's owned by AMC, which is weird. It used to be something you could watch on Verve, which is owned by Crunchyroll, but pretended to be the parent company of Crunchyroll, which was weird. But that went away. HiDive was the partner they made when the Funimation deal ended and you couldn't watch Funimation shows on Verve anymore. And they were like, oh, well, we have a service that has some dubs. It's called HiDive. They also sometimes have real weird, horny anime. Did you see that Eminence in Shadow airs on Wednesdays on HiDive? Dirty, I did not see that. I don't like that manga. So I didn't pay attention to where it was airing because I did not enjoy the Eminence in Shadow manga. It is, I believe, the only isekai I'm not going to be watching this season. I think because there's not, weirdly enough, folks, there's not a lot of isekai this season. But I will be watching. Tonight. I'll be talking about I'm the Villainess, so I'm Taming the Final Boss. And I'll be watching Reincarnate as a Sword. And Irma-kun. When Irma-kun starts, which I think is soon. Irma-kun is coming soon. I'll be watching Welcome to Demon School, Irma-kun. And I believe that is 3 of the 4 isekai this season. And Eminence in Shadow is the 4th. And I don't think I'll be watching that because, as I said, I didn't really like the manga too much. But as always, friends, that's just one man's opinion. It just so happens that that man is me, and I have a microphone that I talk into while doing this. So my words don't mean any more than your words, but they are louder than your words. All right, this is a 3. I need a 2. Got it. Whoops. All right. So, is there any other anime talk other than the second hour? Any more me being mad at Crunchyroll for this nonsense? Okay, yeah. So I got all that. I talked about that. Daily Life Immortal Season 3 just started yesterday on Crunchyroll. Oh yeah, I saw that. Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. It would end up there. That's good for them. Saw Netflix has Lookism coming soon, which is based on a Korean webtoon. Oh, I didn't know that. That's cool. Um, let's see. Yeah, I talked about Gundam not info not having Witch from Mercury. Hopefully that won't affect Crunchyroll and I can watch it tomorrow. Talked about I've somehow gotten stronger while I improved my farm related skills was delayed for some reason, only on the subtitles, but not in the actual release. Uh, and then the Crunchyroll price increase coming. Um, and then also, hey, uh, Junji Ito has an NFT project coming out soon, and that sucks. The real horror out there, apparently the real scary shit is beloved creators getting into NFTs continuously. You'd think that they would be like, oh wait, actually no. Hey, let's stop doing this. But that's not the case. It's what's the word? Disappointing. The word is disappointing. Look at this beautiful clear piece here. This clear red piece. The only red piece on this. This whole sprue just for this one face piece here. This tiny face piece. But yeah, not thrilled with that. I mean, just in general, like, I don't like reading on my anime sites about that bullshit. Yeah, that was it. That was really it on there. Quick hits. Tuesday's stream is another stream where I will be watching old wrestling matches. These streams do not get archived on Twitch. They do not get uploaded to YouTube because if I'm just watching All Japan Pro Wrestling, usually I'm fine unless one of the wrestlers from All Japan use their own ring entrance while making appearances with WWE, who do not own the copyright of that music, but still like to pretend they do. And it's very difficult to fight them. So most of the time, if I do that, I can upload to YouTube. But on Tuesday, I will be showing matches. We will be streaming some matches from New Japan Pro Wrestling's web service, streaming service. That have been made available to anyone to watch that do feature founder of the company who just recently passed away, Antonio Inoki. So we will be watching at least one Inoki match on Tuesday. Hey, welcome. Just another spicy. Happy to have you here. But yeah, Inoki did pass away. And we have not, because I tend to not really do, when I'm doing my wrestling streams, do New Japan because they don't want you to. But I am going to do that, and we will watch a couple. I believe I have clips of one against, one of the stars of, other stars of New Japan that he was passing this torch to, and also a match against a big man from the United States because it's just two big men getting really physical in a wrestling ring. And it's real good. So we were watching that. Okay, so I have a sticker that I put on here, and now I'm putting a visor over the sticker, but it's small, and my big fat fingers don't like it, so this is going to take me a hot second to do. The only match I remember with Inoki was a great Santono, who tried to no-sell Aoki, and he beat the shit out of him. Yes! You can't no-sell Antonio Inoki. It will not stand. He will not allow that. He will. make you. He will make you sell by going into business for him. If you try to go to business for yourself, he'll make you pay. Yeah, I'm sure it was. His matches were often brutal because he was really interested in the strong style, the making it seem real by sometimes having it be real, which is a choice. Anyway, we're gonna watch some Inoki on Tuesday, and that I think that'll be real good. Looking forward to that. All right, so then we need B232. Working on the head here of our mobile suit. Our marine type Gundiver. It's a goddamn gorgeous looking mobile suit that I'm thrilled to be putting together, even if some of these parts are a little small. I mean, that's not my forte. Is working on small stuff here. But we'll get this together. At some point, we'll stop and or pause anyway, so that I can do some panel lining. But we at least got to get a lot of it together before we get into the panel lining. And we do have some stickers to put on this. This kit the kit has a lot of stickers, tiny little stickers. And how does this go in? Oh yeah, Shinsuke had a nice post on Instagram. Yeah, totally. Lot of good posts from people that had toured with him. Taz has a nice little write up about it on his Twitter. Yeah, some nice stuff from people. Okay. All right. So one thing I did want to talk to you all about tonight is I've talked about I may retell some of these stories here, but there's going to be some people in chat who have not, or people watching later in the VOD who have not heard these stories. Because I did get asked this because I tweeted about I got sent sides to audition for a TV show the first season was on Comedy Central. Now it's on HBO Max, and they're putting out a second season. I won't go into much more than that. It's a comedy show. I got asked to read for a character that has a couple lines, which is great. And I'm going to be filming that here, and sending in the tape. Now, you might be wondering, Pat, how are you doing that considering that you do not live in New York anymore? Well, what I tell people is, and it's okay for me to say this because it is technically true. I say, hey, I'm currently not in New York. COVID, pandemic or whatever. Not that I have COVID, but the pandemic, I make that clear. So I'm not in town right now, but actually I will be in town around the dates that you mentioned. So I just happen to know that I'll be there. Now, was I planning to be there when they were going to film? No. And if I don't have stuff as frequently as I did when I lived in New York, but also there was a period where there wasn't a lot of filming. And I'm not making face-to-face connections with people much these days because I don't live there. But I still get stuff sent in, usually by people that I know that are working on things and think of me as being someone that would be good for their project. So this particular role, again, just flat out said, hey, I'll be in New York when... I will be in New York when this is filming, so that works out great. Blah, blah. I mentioned this in a tweet. It's a role that, I can definitely do. This is the thing about being a character actor, which I am, right? I get types cast with stuff, and that's fine, because I, 99% of the time, can fucking nail that. Sometimes they're wrong. I'm a big, loud man, but I'm not a Jack Black type, right? I'm a Jason Alexander type more than I'm a Jack Black type. You know what I mean? That's not my energy. You may know John Gabris. He's a podcaster and an actor. John Gabris is a Jack Black type. That ain't me. That's not my thing, right? I'm a big guy, but I'm not a life of the party big man. I'm a yelling and being mad big man. That's who I am. That's what it is. There you go. I'm aware of that. I'm fine with it because it would be weird if I suddenly wasn't cool with being who I am as far as an actor goes. So I sometimes I get roles and I'm just like, or I get offered roles and I'm just like, yep, I can nail this. This is who this is fine. And sometimes I get offered roles and I'm like, the fuck do you? What do you think about me that you thought I would be right for this? Um, like I can say this show aired on CW. There was a show that aired on CW where the premise was the main character was a psychic medium that could talk to ghosts, but he was a shitty person. So like that's the premise. Like, what if a dude who sucked like was a ghost detective? Um, and I auditioned for that, and I was like, who hates me that thinks I would be good for this? Now, I actually part of it was pretty funny, but what some of the lines were some of the ways that this guy sucked was that he was like, yeah, Lashbrook. It's like there was another show. It was like there was another show about like there was a show on CBS, Ghost Whisper. It's what if Ghost Whisperer was a shitty person, basically, like a scummy dude was the Ghost Whisperer. That was basically the premise of the show. Because a lot of the jokes were at the main character's expense, but also he was in many ways very unlikable. I believe there was a line in the audition that I read where he said, um, "You're gonna have to translate. I don't speak Asian." Was a line that person like that was a line that was said. Uh, and it was just like, oh, okay. I did not get that role, and that's great. A guy who was on the TV show Reaper got that role, and I believe it was either CW or Hulu. I can't remember who got that show, but that show showed aired. Uh, so I don't know. I don't remember anything about it, but like that was a role that I got offered, and I was like, "Do you hate me? This seems like what do you think of me that I got this role, that I got offered this role, right? I didn't get the role. But then sometimes I get offered things that I'm just like, there was a pilot for HBO that friends of mine wrote, and I auditioned for and got cast in, and we did a pilot presentation. It never aired on HBO. Made it to pilot presentation. We filmed the pilot episode. They paid for that. I got paid a good amount of money. Uh, Frighteners. That was a kind of shitty dude who spoke to ghosts. Oh yeah, that was a Michael J. Fox movie, right? Yeah. Yes. It was like that, I guess. Um, um, oh, we got to put a bunch of stickers on here. Another panel lines. Um, friends of mine had a pilot. They wrote a character. They wrote a character named Matt that was described as a bearded guy in his 20s, which I was at the time, wearing a loud anime T-shirt and glasses. So, and they crossed off the name Matt, so I didn't know that the character was named Matt. Then like there was another page of lines, and that character, and I was like, oh no no no, this is me. You just wrote me as a character, and then you're having me audition to play myself. And I was like, yeah, all right, I'll nail this. That was a good little role. There's some good lines in that. Got paid a good amount of money. I wish that had gone to series, so I could have done that for a while and had an HBO show in the 2000s, but that was not meant to be. Um, but yeah, so I've auditioned for a bunch of stuff over the years, and like I said, the last couple of years I've auditioned for a few things. Now, doing stuff for streaming services, not too much different from doing stuff for network TV or cable TV. All of it really does feel the same, right? In my experience from how I have approached this stuff, it's all pretty much the same. It's all professional. When you get into independent, that's where shit gets weird. And I was talking about this the other day on a Discord, and I felt like, oh, well, I'll talk about this on stream because I think people will like this. Again, I may have talked about these horror stories before, but um, even if you sign a contract, all this shit is lawless when you get into independent. So uh, the what used to be the weirdest horror story I ever had. Uh, not trying to make a joke with it because it is about horror, is okay. So, um, there was a pilot presentation, a self pilot that some guys were working on. Right, these guys were like, "Hey, we're making this thing. We're going to shop it around, and we want to film like the first episode. So we're not just going in with the idea. We can show them what it is. It's for no money, but we'll buy you food and we'll feed you. And you know, if we can move on, we'll try to keep all of you." And the basic idea was, it was somewhere between Drunk History and like reenactments of like horror stuff, like ghost, you know, like you basically when they're telling ghost stories and there's reenactments, and then the drunken reenactments, but it was about like drunken behavior. So it would be somebody would be talking about, and they would treat it was a comedy thing, but they would treat it like everything we're talking about here is deadly serious, even though it wasn't deadly serious because it was like a comedy piece. But every story would be at like a bad drunken encounter. So we filmed this. It was a full day shoot, like morning to night. We were outside. At one point, we had to run, and we kept having to film this part where we were running, and I was like pissed off about that. And anyway, we filmed it. And sometimes when you film something for free or food, you're told, we'll send it to you, right? You'll get it. You'll get it on a DVD, or you'll get a file to download, because that way you can use it for something, right? Like, I don't know if I would use it in my reel, but at the very least, I'd like to see this thing that I helped work on, right? Never hear from these people, right? And I usually do a follow-up. I'm like, hey, blah, blah, blah. Especially do a follow-up if they're going to be paying me to, like, see, like, hey, where's my money? But I do my follow-up, and I don't hear anything, and I never hear anything. And then, like a year and a half later, a friend of mine's like, hey, I saw you on Funny or Die. And I'm like, I'm not on Funny or Die. I've never done a video for them. And of course, Funny or Die produces their own content. And I had been a background person for a thing that they said was never going to air, that involved somebody. And I signed an NDA, so I'm not going to say who. But I filmed something that I knew for a fact was never going to air. So I was like, it can't be that. They couldn't have figured that out. I don't know if that NDA is still good, but you know, I work with people. Gotta be all right. But you could just upload, like, there was a period there where you could just, like, if you wanted to, just upload your own video to Funny or Die and get it voted, and maybe someday it'll be famous, and then they'll pay you to make stuff, right? It was like another way to get your stuff seen, because there were people that liked that stuff. They like voting Funny or Die on things. So that pilot presentation that I had been in, they just, at one point, uploaded it to Funny or Die. It wasn't great or anything, but it was there. And I was like, that's shitty. Because even if they had uploaded it, they should have emailed the cast and said, like, hey, so nobody bought this thing, but, you know, we had a good time making it. Thank you so much. And it's on Funny or Die if you want to watch it. And tell your friends. They didn't do any of that. They didn't do their due diligence with it, which I found to be shitty. That used to be the shittiest thing in this world of doing stuff for free or favors or for low money. But then a new thing came out. And I definitely know that I have talked about this before because it came up when we were talking about crowdfunding. But I'll say it again because it is a good story. Another thing that involved ghosts, but it was a direct parody of the ghost investigation shows. And it was like, yeah, we go and we like figure out stuff with ghosts, and it's a comedy piece, and there was a lot of improv, and they filmed a teaser trailer. Now, I was told that this was going to be a web series, and they were looking to get their ducks in a row, and they were going to get some money together and do this, right? And I'm going to be very specific about this. Their exact words were, we're going to get some money together. They always said, we're going to get some money together, and we just want to get like half of the pilot done, and it's going to be a web series. So, did it for no money. Again, somebody mentioned me, recommended me. Person was like, hey, would you be interested in doing this? I said, okay. My lines were funny. I got some good lines in there. I got some ad libs in that were good. they sent it to us, which was nice. So I had that. Not that I was going to use it for anything, but I had it, and that was good. Because, when you're just starting out or when you've only been doing it for a while, you want everything because you're never sure what is going to end up being something that you want to send to people or you want on your reel. So we do all that. That goes through. That's all good. We did that. And then a friend of mine says, "Hey, I think I'm going to give money to that Indiegogo." And I was like, "What Indiegogo? What are you talking about?" "The Indiegogo you're in." And I was like, "What the fuck are you talking about?" So these people, the money that they were looking to put together was crowdfunding. Did they ever say crowdfunding or Indiegogo? No. This pilot presentation they put together was their trailer for their Indiegogo to film a web series. Now, I know that web series aren't in fashion these days. You just make TikToks of your thing and do a bunch of episodes of that. Or you just do it on YouTube yourself. But nobody wants to give money to make nobody wants to give you money to make a web series because people don't think that shit costs money. And it does. It costs a lot of money to make a web series. But the perception among people is that it doesn't cost any money. So Kickstarters and crowdfunding in general for that fail, which is why people that want to make web series used Indiegogo, because you kept the money that you had gotten even if you didn't hit your goal. Because people like Broad City, the ladies of Broad City that had a Comedy Central series that ran for a couple seasons. I got to be in it. I was very grateful. They started off as a web series that they paid for themselves. They tried to do a Kickstarter to fund their finale. This is a product that existed and people really liked. And that Kickstarter failed because people were like, "Well, you did all the other episodes yourself." Like, that was the general feeling, was like, no, I'm not going to, like, same thing with short films. Well, people just max out their credit cards to make short films, like Kevin Smith did. They just borrow money. You don't crowdfund for a short film or a independent feature. You just do it. It's on the internet. It's basically free. Yeah, Lord Crashes. Unfortunately, that is how a lot of people feel. So if they had approached me with, "Hey, we're shooting this thing. It's a teaser for an Indiegogo," I would have said no. And I made that very clear to these people that had you told me that this was for a crowdfunding effort, I would have said you need to be more realistic because this is going to be a failure and I need to know more about it before I agree. Because instead of, "Hey, we made this thing and we cast these people," it was, "Hey, we made this thing, we cast these people, and we want to make more, and these people clearly, explicitly believe in us. Otherwise, why would they agree to be in it?" And so that continues to be the new shittiest thing that I've ever been asked, that I've ever been involved in when it comes to that world of like, wait, what the fuck? They did not. They got some money, and a couple people in the group decided to continue on with it. I was not one of them. I made it very clear that I was not interested in participating in future things because they were not clear to me about the project. It was fine, but I was disappointed and annoyed because you just have to tell me the scope of it. You can't keep that shit from me. The only other really annoying thing is that there is a joke that the writers of Difficult People have that has somewhat minorly negatively affected me. I was in episode 1 of season 3 of Difficult People. I am a person in an audience for a daytime talk show that Billy is the warm-up comic for. And he and I have a conversation and a back and forth, and it's pretty funny, and I get a couple laugh lines in, and he gets a couple laugh lines in, and we move on with our lives, and it's pretty good. I am listed in the IMDb page for that episode as Trump Guy. My character is not interested in it makes no mention of that. There's nothing about that character that would say that's a Trump guy. Instead of just like man in crowd, they just named him Trump guy as a rib, as a joke, I guess. And they did that to other people too, and it does suck. It's not great that that's out there like that. It is a nice joke on me that like my search terms on IMDb are like watermelon cop, which is a Chris Gethard show thing, and and Trump guy. It is a weird joke that also didn't notice that until here's the thing. That show, the last episodes they worked on was episode 1 because it had New York and LA filming in it. So they shot that last. So by the time that episode aired, they were done with production and done with post-production. Like they had wrapped post-production on every other episode. So there was no one for me to be like, hey, can you change this so it doesn't fucking say that? Because it doesn't say it on Hulu credits. It only says that on IMDb. Could you change that shit? And I don't have anyone to talk to about that. At least you weren't like the Trump cowboy guy. Yes, I mean, that's the other thing, right? Like, look, if I was going to get offered the role of Trump supporter in a thing, it couldn't be, well, it depends, right? I say it depends, right? Money is money. You paying me a lot of money to be an actor, and my job is to be a character that likes Donald Trump? Sure. It helps that if it's a satirical piece, if it's a very funny piece, if it's a look at this guy, ha 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 piece, if it's just like, no, you're just like a Trump supporter, and then that's it, and there's nothing to it. Like, I'm still gonna take the role. Like, you still say yes to roles. Like I said, I auditioned for a thing that I was like, what do you? But yeah, all right, money's money. So you still do it. You just feel weird about it. And some people don't do it. They just go, nope, I'm not interested in that. And I have turned down things. I've talked about this before. When I was auditioning heavily in like 2008 to 2011, that's when I went on a lot of auditions. I was going out a lot. I wasn't signed with anyone, but I had people that would send me out for things. I stopped saying yes to going into auditions for anything that involved man on the street or pranks because I hate them. I don't like prank shows. I don't like pranking people, and I feel very uncomfortable and weird about ambushing people on the street to talk to them and then having someone else pester them for a release. Like, I don't like that. I don't like watching that content. I don't like making that content. So I stopped auditioning for those roles because there was a casting person for an MTV show that said, hey, I've seen you in a couple of these. You're really funny. And I was like, oh, thanks. And he was like, but you hate this, huh? I was like, oh, yeah, I don't like prank stuff. And he's like, yeah, I could kind of picked up on that. Well, if we have something that's not that, hopefully we can have you in. And I was like, great. And I did work with him on something else, which actually, weirdly enough, I worked with that guy on a thing that technically you could consider to be a prank. The pilot for the Improv Everywhere TV show that never actually became a TV show. I was in some segments for that. And Improv Everywhere is extensive. Improv Everywhere is 90% pranks that don't hurt anyone. They're just like happenings or events in public that are cool and weird. And occasionally they are pranks on people. And I never did those. I never did the ones that are like direct pranks on people. But I did do the ones that were like, hey, this cool thing is happening. Like, oh, hey, if you press this button, that you press this big power switch, and then all of these people in the park, suddenly they're all illuminated in Christmas lights. Like that kind of thing. Like I did a lot of those. But I didn't do the ones where like, hey, we're all going to go into a store, and then do a weird sick pay thing and slow down people being able to work in their store. Like, I didn't do the one of like, we're all going to go into Best Buy dressed in blue polo shirts. Like, I didn't do that shit because I don't want to bother people with their jobs. I guess I just worked too long in industries like that I was like, no, I don't want to do those kind of gigs. But I would do a lot of like, this miniature golf. Hey, when you hit this one hole at this outdoor miniature golf course, all of a sudden we're gonna immediately transform it like and treat it like it's a real putting area for a real golf course. And there's gonna be like announced dudes that show up and a crowd that is cheering and then shushing themselves and cheering for you. And I like did that bit because that's a very fun bit that like, yeah, it's a. I liked the ones that were fun surprises. I think those were neat. I dressed as Santa Claus for a bit for Improv Everywhere, where one person was in on the gag and their family, they're going to go to a house and take like Christmas photos at and like, like a quaint house that had like decorated with a room, and we're going to take our Christmas photos there. And then they didn't know that while they were inside, all of these people that were hiding were going to come out and do this like song and dance with like snow, like fake snow hitting and doing this whole thing. And then like they get this surprise. And like I played one of the Santa Clauses for that was like paid for by like Target or something. And the song that was playing was like their Christmas song or something. I don't know. Like I did a lot of weird shit like that for Improv Everywhere because Charlie is my friend. Charlie Todd, the creator of Improv Everywhere, also co-founded with me and a couple other people UCBW, the comedy wrestling show that we did. Lord Crashington wants me to play the new dance song. It's a new month. It's October. Here's that dance song. Oh, yeah. This is a smooth dance song. Maybe I'll trim the intro. I don't know. But it's got some good hand claps in it. Yeah. It builds really nicely. It's a good jam. It's a fun one. That's the dance song for this month. John says, not a bad dance song. Subscribe for 13 months, tier 1. Thank you so much, John. Appreciate it. Thank you for your continued support, my friend. Let's throw the Bear Cave, the Lego, the Scythe, and the tier 2. If you're a tier 2 subscriber, the blue emote in the chat. Thank him, John, for continuing to subscribe. And as always, friends, those songs that I play, these dance songs, are all songs that I found on the Stream Deck music thing. So all of them are cool and fine and will not get me in trouble on Twitch or YouTube, which rules. Because I don't want to deal with that. Oops, almost didn't put some polycaps in here. Let's see, was there any other things about weird? Honestly, a lot of stuff that I did for free or no money, like little money, was always just tracking down that money. That was always the hard part, was getting that paid thing. A lot of the stuff that I did, like as favors, I just never saw. Like pilot presentations, you just expected to never get a copy. But I would like do sketches for people that would like I would never never see, or I got cut out of. I'm in like a horror comedy movie that I'm in one scene and they like chop my scene up, and then I like happened to mention that to somebody, and then I just didn't get invited to any of the other horror comedy things that they made. And I was like, that's fine. You did cut out a lot of my lines, but that's cool. Yeah, I don't know. I ended up in a bunch of weird stuff. I mean, like, yeah, it's like you say yes to things. I say yes to people I like. That was always my motto. If I was available, I would try to do it for people that I like, and then if they're paying, I would certainly do it. Like, there's a short film that there's like, I would say probably like 8 short films or full-length independent features that I have roles in that have never been available anywhere. Because I wait to see if my name shows, like, because sometimes my information will just update on IMDb, and that's how I found out a thing that I was in got made or got released in like a film festival or something. But a lot of that stuff just never gets finished because it's somebody's passion project and they just run out of money. Or like one dude was funding this thing and he lost his job and his wife got pregnant. And so he was like, hey, I'm never going to finish this thing. Sorry. And we were like, okay, all right. Like it was good, but sure, okay. It's pretty good. I think I was funny in it, but all right. That's how a lot of that stuff ends up working out. The pilot presentations are the bummers because, like, imagine if in like 2009 I was on HBO. Like that's ridiculous to think about. Like, what if I was a series regular on an HBO comedy show? That thing was very fun. I will not apologize. The premise was the audience knew from the very first scene of the very first episode that this couple that they were looking at were going to break up. And you were, through the course of the season, going to watch them break up. That was the premise. I would be playing a reoccurring character, guest star, recurring role, not a guest star, recurring role of a guy in the so it was the lead was in like a writer's group, and they would meet and like at a coffee shop and like read what they had written and give each other feedback, like script writing group. And I was a member of that group. And it was fun. But like, I wouldn't have been in every episode, but I would have been in a lot of episodes. And it's one of those things you think about it, like, that would have changed some shit about me and my situation. Like that would have been a big thing. I wouldn't have quit my job, but I would have been able to reduce my hours at that job and audition for more things and say, hey, I'm in this HBO show. Hire me for things. I'm on the same network as Arliss. Check me out. It would have been pretty cool. Again, didn't happen. Which is a bummer. But that's just the way it is, right? Every once in a while, you get stuff and you're like, I've done a few projects where I was like, this fucking kicks ass. And then there were some times where I was like, this is weird that I'm doing. This is a weird thing that I don't think is that good, but whatever, I'll do it. As I said, the thing that I just sent a tape in for is a weird role with just a couple lines. And would it even be financially responsible for me to fly to New York for this role? No. Whatever they eventually offer me will not be more money than the cost to get there and then to crash somewhere or like dinner, B&B or whatever I'm going to do. But it would be an excuse to get up to New York in January. It would be me being on a thing, and I would make the most of that trip. So it's worth auditioning for and making it sound like I would be available for that. So we'll see. Again, I also would have to book it, which like who the fuck knows. You can't ever assume you're going to book anything, even if like I know the people that created the show. That doesn't necessarily mean that I'm going to get it because they don't always have say in every element of it. Because somebody else who's auditioning for it could be like somebody at the network's like favorite person, or like the casting director loves this person and like gets them in all the time for things and all that kind of shit that like is fine, but you just get used to. They Went Another Way is fun. I always point this out. That pilot presentation that I talked about, right? The HBO pilot that I was in, right? Paid for by HBO was good. Would have been a fine show if somebody had believed in it enough to go through with it, right? One of the characters in that show was named Jesse Falcon. He was written for my friend Jesse Falcon to be the character of Jesse Falcon. It was written for and based on my friend Jesse. And it went to somebody else. Somebody else got booked on that show as Jesse Falcon. And my boy Jesse, Midwest dude, crazy eyes, crazy person, wonderful person, but like a fucking weird, wonderful, weird dude whose day job used to be that he was like one of the head toy like modelers for Marvel, and now he's like a VP at Disney because of the purchase. Great dude. Jesse Falcon rules. Nightmare man, but he rules. The actor who ended up playing the character Jesse Falcon based on the real person Jesse Falcon is a very cool, laid-back, chill stand-up comedian named Mike Brett. Mike is a chill, cool black dude. Jesse is a high-strung, weird, Midwestern white guy. They are not the same person, and it is hilarious that, like, in that, watching that pilot, you know, would be like, "What's up, Jesse? What's up, Falcon?" And be like, "That's so weird." There's also there are two different characters in Children's Hospital named Jesse Falcon, one of whom is played by Jesse Falcon, the other, another character from a previous season, again, played by someone else. On two different occasions, there was a character written for explicitly my friend Jesse and portrayed by someone that wasn't Jesse. So when I say in that pilot that it was a no-brainer that I got cast in the role for the character Pat, or the character Matt, I should say, that was clearly written for me, there was always the chance that they were going to go another way. But that Jesse story always makes me laugh to be like, no, they're going a different direction, Jesse. They went with a different person to play you in this thing. Always makes me laugh. I don't know. World is weird. But whatever. He's got an @Disney.com email address. So who the fuck cares? That he wasn't in a HBO pilot that no one remembers. Because it didn't air on HBO. But one of them has a very popular podcast now. So, you know, joke's on them. HBO could have had Jason Mantzoukas in a 1-hour comedy show in the late 2000s and didn't. They fucked up. So, I don't know. I haven't thought about that show in a while, so I'm being nostalgic for a thing that probably wasn't great, but was certainly good, and would have, as I said, changed my fucking life in a meaningful way if I had gotten that. It would have been a recurring role with, like, steady income acting, and would have been, like, pretty fucking dope. I would have been able to afford HBO at the time. That would have been cool as hell. Anyway, we're not done with this waste, but we're getting there. But we're going to take a pause for the cause. I'm going to talk about ways you can support the channel because that is what I do here. If you're new to the stream, I'm just going to talk for a couple minutes about ways that you can support what I do here, and then we'll get back into I don't know, model kit building, talking. We'll talk about some anime and all that. First and foremost, if you're currently a subscriber, you can throw the Bear Cave, the Lego, the Scythe emote, or if you're a tier 2 like Aristofan, the blue emote. Throw those emotes in the chat. Let me see you here, because you have been chill tonight, chat. You've been pretty quiet and chill, which is okay. But I would love to see those emotes in there. Being a subscriber is the easiest way to support what I do here through cash money. Either you're like John, subscribing tier 1 like that with cash or credit card, or and also Dirty, or like Electronica, who used Prime, and Ghost Valve, who used Prime. Using your Prime gaming token, if Amazon Prime link with your Twitch, you can do that. We always appreciate that. It's the new month, so any gifted subs will show up at the gift sub leaderboard. If you gifted just one subscription, you would show up there. Right now, we are over 40 subscribers, but last month's gift subs will expire, and then I will be once again asking people to become to gift a sub or to become a subscriber. But you can do that now. It's not September anymore because it's October, and so you can't save any money, but you could become a subscriber. Also, bits and coins always appreciated. You could give me some bits, and that would be cool as well if you wanted to, which you don't have to do. Now, there are alternatives to getting in on this and still financially supporting me on a monthly basis. And one of those ways is Patreon. Patreon.com/PatBaer. There's a $1, $3, $5, and $10 tier. There are different rewards for each tier, and they get more cool as you spend more money. And also, I should mention that now I'm doing monthly subscription for this, not just if you join today, it's the first of the month, right? And then every first of the month, you have to pay again to have the next month. If you join on the 3rd, you will get billed every month on the 3rd. If you join on the 22nd, you will get billed every month on the 22nd. Going forward, this is the case. For everybody that did this before, it's still the 1st, even if you did join on the 17th. So it's like rolling subscriptions instead of the 1st is when everyone gets billed no matter how long you were there. That's a new thing, right? It makes it easier to sign up for the first time if you want to join my Patreon. Today's still obviously the best day to do it because it is the 1st. So if you want to get in on my Patreon, you can. Also, I have a YouTube channel, and obviously subscribing to my YouTube is free. But if you want to jump in on YouTube, youtube.com/PatBaer, you can also become a member there. You could join in and get in on the memberships, which is $2 a month, and you get my Wednesday videos that I send out every single Wednesday. You get those on Tuesday. So you get a little bit of a head start on my Wednesday videos. My next Wednesday video, it's pretty good. I think you'll like it. Let's see. Those are all ways to support me monthly. But there's also one-time donations. If you just want to tip me, if you're like, Pat, I can't do a monthly thing, but I think it would be cool if you give you a little bit of cash here. You can do it through Coffee or PayPal or Stream Elements. Stream Elements also, you can use your credit card through that, which is good. And everything you donate through direct donations, through Coffee, through PayPal, through YouTube and Patreon and Twitch, everything I get through that goes into a fund, and I use that fund to buy model kits. This kit, the Gundiver, I would not have been able to pre-order without your generous continued support. So thank you all very much for feeding my model kit building needs. Appreciate that. Now, I have a backlog. This kit came from my backlog. It was voted by my $10 patrons on what I should build next, but you can stop me from building from my backlog and instead build the thing you want me to build by buying it from my Amazon wish list. Because anything bought on my Amazon wish list jumps the queue and becomes the next thing I build. And I've got Lego sets in here. I've got Pokemon kits, a bunch of new Lego that I recently added, inexpensive kits, very expensive kits, model kits that have Amazon free shipping, Amazon Prime shipping, which are different things. The Farsay Gundam dropped down. Now it's just $40, almost $41. Inexpensive kits, very expensive kits, kits that are coming from Japan, kits that are, somebody selling here in the United States. And then also at the bottom is some gear, various pieces of gear, because it's nice to have gear. They are helpful. And as I said, anything you buy from my Amazon wish list will jump the queue. I will make a dedicated video for my YouTube about that thing and give you a shout out if you want to include your name in the message. And that is just another way to support me. My alternative to Amazon, because it's nice to have alternatives, is Throne. Throne also has model kits and some other stuff and is a more curated list. So check out Throne. I keep saying I will update that. I will. I promise. I will. That is on my agenda for tomorrow. And then also, you could just go to USA Gundam Store and buy a gift card. And then send me the gift card code in a DM on Twitter. Because you just get an email with the code, just send it to me. And then I will use that to buy something from USA Gundam Store. And it won't be a pre-order unless you specifically say, hey, you should pre-order this thing. Because it just takes a while and things get delayed and it's weird. And I want you to have the instant gratification of you bought me a gift card and I bought something. And then it came in the mail and then I built it. If you want to support me for free, because all those ways include spending money. I'm asking you to spend money in all those various ways. Here's the thing. Join my Discord. My Discord is generally, there's a couple things that happen in Discord. First and foremost, I post build photos at the end of every stream. So you can keep track of that. If you didn't watch the stream, you can go to the Discord and see my progress. People post stuff they're working on. People promote themselves. And also, people post links to things they think I would be interested in instead of tweeting them at me, which is also fine. It's cool because sometimes I'll be like, oh, yes, here is a thing in my Discord that someone thought that they thought I would want to know. So they posted a link to a thing in the Discord, and I appreciate that. The people who are looking out, I respect it. Instead of adding me on Twitter, they're just like, no, I'll just post in your Discord that I am a member of. And that's cool. Also, if you join the Patreon, there's a forum that's just for you, and it's just a cool secret forum that I don't do anything with. Forum, I should say. There's just a channel that's just for you. All right. We're going to get back to model kit building here. Got to quickly just promote a couple video links. The first video link is Pat Baer's Anime Club. I recently recorded a live stream where I talked about all of the shows from the summer season, which just ended, and I previewed the shows from the fall season, which is really just starting, kind of really kicked off today. There was a couple shows that started up, but today is when there was like a lot of new shit. And so, talking about that later, but I made a whole video about that. And then Do You Remembaer is an ongoing video series where every week I read an article on Wikipedia and then hastily prepare material from that, record myself trying to remember everything I can from the article that I just read and see if I can remember. And this one is a cheat because I just had to remember the limited information on the Wikipedia page for Pizza Rat. And then I filled in the blanks of stuff that isn't on the Wikipedia page about Pizza Rat, including me. My name shows up nowhere on the Wikipedia page for Pizza Rat, and that's rude. So yeah, if you want to learn more about it's a little over 7 years since Pizza Rat, and so I decided to talk about that. Next week's Do You Remembaer, I figured out what I'm going to talk about here. It'll be one of the first Do You Remembaers where I'm just like mad at the thing that I'm talking about because I think it's bullshit. So that should be fun. If you want to see Pat being like, ugh, and then they talk about this thing. Here's the cultural impact of this nonsense. That's coming up. Anyway, we're going to talk about some anime because I watched some anime. But first, I need to drink water. That's important. And this is a good time for you. Maybe you don't need to drink any beverages. Maybe you just want to get up and stretch. Maybe you just want to like roll your neck a little bit, or just like take your head off of your hand that you were leaning on. Whatever you need to do. But take a second to breathe a little bit here while I drink some water and we dramatically transition to the overhead camera right now. All right. Hey, we just got a new follow. Thank you so much, Avenging Pineapple. And you said, honey, I'm home. Well, welcome, Avenging Pineapple. You came at a perfect time because we are going to continue to work on... Oops, as I just knocked a thing over. We are going to continue to work on the Gundiver model kit here, working on the waist of the Gundiver. And while we're working on that, I'm going to talk about some anime that I watched the episodes of today. Brief overview, we've got the first episode of Season 2 of Uzaki-Chan Wants to Hang Out, which is a romantic comedy that the first season was on Funimation, and now the second season is on Crunchyroll. So we'll talk about that. We will talk about the second episode of I'm a Villainess, so I'm Taming the Final Boss, which is an isekai. A girl realizes, hey, I'm in a dating sim. And, I'm the villainess in this dating sim. And, bad things happen to me as like a comedic footnote at the end of this video game. I gotta change things. And then we'll talk about episode 13, the first episode of the second part of Spy Family. So those are the three episodes. Again, there was the one about my skills increased and trying to be a better farmer anime that I only look up. Let me look up the full goddamn name of this thing. What's the full name of this anime? I've somehow gotten stronger when I improved my farming related skills. Looks like we'll get 2 episodes of that next week. So, also I am watching Pop Team Epic, but I am not going to be talking about that every week. Season 2 of Pop Team Epic started. Please go to my Twitter page, scroll back for when I posted the video of that. The Season 2 opener of Pop Team Epic, it was directed by a person that does Kamen Rider shows. It is a parody of Kamen Rider. It is a live-action opening for Pop Team Epic that is very fucking good. It's just, like, actually impressive and great, but also is the opener for a weird cartoon. But that Pop Team Epic is such a weird show that I don't feel comfortable trying to give the summary of every episode of that, because I would just do a bad job. Like, I think I generally would just, like, not do well with it. All right, so we got to build. Let's see. Okay, so one side of this kit is where the beam sabers live, but not on both sides, which is interesting. It's interesting that only one side of this kit has the beam sabers, so we got to build that. And I will talk to y'all about Uzaki-Chan Wants to Hang Out Season 2. So if you did not watch Season 1, honestly, the first episode of Season 2 is a great introduction, because this episode treats you, the audience, the viewer, like you've never watched the show. It is kind of weird how they do it, but yeah, they go into it with just, like, seemingly going to it with the premise that, like, you don't know what this show's about. We'll tell you. Because, like, there's a scene that happened, like, halfway through the series at Christmas. There's a scene in the beginning, like, a montage of them hanging out. But basically, there's Hana and there's Sakurai. Hana is a young lady who is in college. She's bubbly. She's lively. She's got big boobs. And she looks young, a little bit young for her age. But again, she's a college student. And then there's Sakurai. And Sakurai, he's got resting bastard face. He's got a mean mug. His whole life, he is just like a serious dude that looks... He's just got a resting frown. Like, his general disposition. People assume that he hates them, or that he is a mean guy, or he's into trouble. But he's not. He's just a serious-faced boy. Actually is legitimately good boy. And their friendship is... They knew each other in high school, and now they're at the same college. He did a full year before she got there. And she shows up basically just like... Oh, no, I'm sorry. Yeah, and then there was a year where they didn't see each other. And then they just ran into each other, and their friendship has been restored. But their friendship is driving each other completely nuts and being very... Like, it's not tsundere. It's not like, oh, I'm acting like I don't like you, but I obviously like you. Like, they like each other, but she just busts his balls all the time. She's just, like, needling him about being, like, a loner and alone. And, like, a little of it is, like, oh, well, I guess we should go together because it would be so bad if you bowled by yourself or whatever. And for the most part, like, there are times they get along, and then he gets frustrated, and she laughs at him being frustrated. And that's their relationship. Except also, through the course of the first season, it's very clear that they like each other and should probably be dating. Because they get into wacky hijinks, and on multiple occasions, they have, like, fallen asleep next to each other or whatever. And then woken up and felt very embarrassed, or, like, shared a drink, and then, like, became like very like, oh, I know what happened here, or said things that people took the wrong way and implied that they were dating when they're not dating. Just stuff like that. Just real, like, anime-esque, like, romantic comedy stuff. But again, they're high school students, and it does make it better. This show isn't, like, super horny, but it's horny. There are a couple characters that are horny, but the main two characters aren't that. College students, yeah. We'll talk later about Amy, who is, this first episode, you're just like, hey, what the fuck is wrong with this girl? Because she went from being the girl that loves watching them be in awkward situations where they, like, suddenly realize they're flirting with one another, and she loves observing that. She goes from that character to I want to see weird. I want to see them be in cosplay, and I'm going to be a weirdo. Like, I don't know. She got weirder in between seasons. Anyway, so this episode, again, some flashback stuff, some reminiscing. There's another dude, Sakaki. He became friends with Sakurai in college, here in college, and he doesn't want to observe them, like, will they, won't. He doesn't care about the will they, won't they. He just wants his friend to, like, date someone and to be happy. So he's been trying to push them together because he's like, I don't need to observe them in this weirdness that they find themselves in. I just want them to date. Hey, we got a new follow by Donro Chat. Thank you very much for the follow. Welcome to the Build with Baer workshop. We're talking about an anime called Uzaki-Chan Wants to Hang Out. The second season just started today on Crunchyroll. We'll talk about the episode while we work on this model kit. Let's see. So yeah, they. Later in this episode, there's the whole thing of, yes, Avenging Pineapple, you are home. We saw that earlier, and we appreciate you being home. I do appreciate hitting the follow button, and yeah, welcome. Later there's like this whole thing where there's some college girls are like talking, and they're like, but you have a boyfriend. We see him. He's the guy that looks kind of intense. He's over there. She's like, no, that's not my boyfriend. I just feel sorry for him. It's a whole thing. They go bowling. It's a whole thing. Episode is fun. And also at the end of this episode, they do fall asleep at college at a break next to each other. And then the people that were like, that she told, yeah, I'm not dating him, are like, oh, yeah. These folks are dating. So this is the beam saber right here. And that rests on this side, and then we can put a beam saber on it later, but later we will build a gun for this kit, and that will look, we'll probably just have them hold the gun. But we will put these together, even if we won't be able to see them. We'll certainly construct these beam saber holders, put them together. So that's Uzaki-Chan Wants to Hang Out Season 2. I like this show. Last season, there wasn't really much romantic comedy for me to watch. And while the next show I'll talk about, I'm the Villainess, so I'm Taming the Final Boss, is also got some romance in it. It's not really a comedy. It's more of an action romance series. So I do like having my romantic comedy shows. Like last season, I could... Look. Last season, I could have watched the show about the guy whose ex-girlfriend is now his stepsister. Like, I could have watched that romantic comedy show, but I didn't want to. I very much did not want to watch that show, so I didn't. You know, that was one of the big romantic comedy shows of last season, and I was just like, actually, you know what? No, I don't want to watch that. Like, no thanks. My ex-girlfriend's mom, married my dad or whatever that show is called. But I was just like, no, I don't want to watch this show. But I am watching I'm the Villainess, so I'm Taming the Final Boss. This is a show about Eileen. Eileen, right before her now ex-fiance, who is the prince of the country, is like, hey, I know that you've been bullying this girl, and I'm in love with her. So I'm annulling our engagement, calling the engagement off. As that moment happens, our character is like, weird. I feel like I've seen this before. And then she realizes, oh no, this is a video game that I played. This is a dating game that I played on my, clearly a Switch, but they don't call it a Switch. I played this dating game a lot. And now I'm the Villainess. Oh no. And also she realizes it's bad that I woke up just as this engagement is being called off. But also it's bad because I know how this character dies. Eileen gets killed by a dragon. And kind of like a comedic moment. Like nobody notices this dragon just like steps on her. And that dragon is the Demon Lord. The Demon Lord is a half demon, half human, who is also a royal member and the half brother of the guy. Come on, Eileen, indeed, right? Because there's the Cedric is the shitty prince. He's a shit prince. Cedric's older brother is Claude, who is the demon lord. Because I guess people didn't know that his mom was a demon when she married the king. So he's like not really part of stuff, but around. Anyway, at some point he hates humanity. Some event happens that he hates humanity enough that he goes on a rampage as a big monster man. And she's like, well, if he doesn't go on a rampage and he doesn't turn into the final boss, then I won't die. So what I need to do is try to marry him, which is a weird plan, but she's just like, I don't know. He doesn't like humanity, so I'll give him a good time with the human, which is me, because also Claude is handsome. Anyway, people are not happy about her, because it does seem like she was, from outward appearances, it seems like she was awful to this girl, and then seems like that in revenge for being cast away by the prince, she is trying to shack up with the demon lord, which is what's happening, and it does seem bad. So anyway, turns out the prince also, part of his like, hey, fuck you, was that he took over the businesses that she had created. She had created some pharmaceutical business, doing medicines, and at least one other business that we don't hear about. But don't worry, she doesn't have a lot of people to support her, but she does have some people. She has some humans that want to help her. And they look like, clearly, they look like if this video game existed, these were like minor people that you could maybe date, but they weren't going to be your main capture points in an Otome game. But there's like a dude with a silent type with an eye patch, and like the a nobleman that is tsundere, and the charming doctor, and the young brilliant architect, and also the somewhat grizzled but doesn't seem to be that old newspaper man. And all these 5 random dudes are all like, yeah, we'll help you. What do you need us to do? Oh, figure out who's embezzling funds from the demon lord? Yes, Lord Crashing, that's where all the tropes are. Because I would assume that in the video game that doesn't exist, right? In the video game that doesn't exist, these dudes would all be brought in by the Villainess and you would win them over. But in reality, you want to marry the prince, but you would like take all these guys to your side, right? So these are all the dudes. There are other dudes like Claude, the demon lord, who I bet in the video game you couldn't romance, but Claude has like a full-blooded demon guy that doesn't wear a shirt all the time. And then Claude also has like another human that's very smart. Anyway, their 2 plans of attack are, we're going to make cosmetics, because that's a way to earn money, because she has to earn money because her family is now in debt because of the prince, but everyone just blames her. So she's got to earn a bunch of money. And then also, she wants to hire these people that lost their jobs because they were supporting her. And she wants to hire them to make the Demon King's castle better for the demons that live there. And the Demon Lord is like, sure. Now, the Demon Lord, we learn, and neither he nor Eileen pick up on this, but we are not dumb. So we pick up on the fact that, oh, he's fucking jealous of all these guys. All these dudes show up because he's interested in her. And all these, like, he's never been interested in anyone. But all these, like, girls, like, you know, this girl is nice, and all these guys hanging around the girl that he's kind of into. She's like, we get a reunion with the Fenrir cub from last episode, who has now been named Ribbon. So there's a bird demon named Almond and a Fenrir cub demon named Ribbon, and we are slowly building out her stable of familiars, which is fun. Anyway, look out, something's going on here. uh, Lilia, who is the heroine of the video game, she's been getting threatening notes. And in the video game, that was from Eileen. But we know that Eileen didn't do that because she's aware of there's a video game and she's not really a villainess. So we don't know who's sending that. But it could be a plot from the prince. But probably not because he seems dumb. But at the very least, the prince thinks that she's doing it. Does think that Eileen is doing this weird. It's like, what would she have to gain from this? Why would she send threatening notes? Why would she send threatening notes in a way that you knew it was her? But anyway, so that's the There's also a thing in this episode where it's not Beelzebub, but it's something like that. I didn't write it down. I apologize. The demon, the full-blooded demon that's helping out the demon lord. He's like, I'm going to go to the ball as the aide. There's a ball coming up. And he's like, I'm going to go to the ball as an aide, and I want to make sure that I don't besmirch the demon lord, and I show honor to the demon lord. And there is a skill that I can acquire called manners. Will you teach me this skill? And it's like, it's very funny because it's like, instead of asking for help, he's like, teach me manners. Like, it's just very silly. And we don't get to see any of that, but there is a reference to him being very proud of learning how to bow properly. And the demon lord's just like, he just keeps bowing. He keeps showing me his bow. He's very proud of it, which is a funny little gag. It's a very tropey show. Eileen is very smart, but she's also like apparently she knows what the video game stuff is, but she didn't have like a lot of real human interactions in her regular life because she was a sick kid that became a sick teen. So like she is clueless about the fact that Claude is like definitely into her, and she does not have that awareness, which is kind of interesting. So she's not like as ditzy as like Katriana. I'm a villainess, but yeah, it's similar. I mean, it's another isekai that is female led and female focused, and I like those because we don't get a lot of them. We don't get a lot of these somewhat postmodern because they are video game adaptation, like fake video game adaptations, but also traditional in their isekai in that they are female-focused and female-led, which is where isekai started as a popular trope in fiction. It is people inspired by Alice in Wonderland making Magic Knight Rayearth and Vishugi Yugi and Escaflowne. And you don't get those, and in Inuyasha, you don't get those without, like, those happen, and then you get people writing light novels about shitty dudes doing that, and that's where all of those become popular. But you don't get those without the successes of the female-focused, female-led shows. Like, those have to exist first, and then you can get the now modern isekai. You go from the classic isekai to the modern to the postmodern, like Reincarnate as a Sword. And now we're getting isekais are the new hotness in isekai as far as manga goes. And so now we're like 2 years, 3 years off from that as an anime trope. Is what happens if I end up back in the real world? But I used like Isekai Uncle is that to a certain extent, although it's focused on looking in the past and what happened there. Whereas a lot of these new ones are really not showing you what happened in that other world and focusing instead on what happened in this in reality now that I have powers, or I have some of my abilities but not all of them. That is certainly a big trope right now in the isekai subgenre, which is I don't dislike. I mean, I talked about it on stream before. I really like the death game. I mean, I don't like death game as a subgenre, But the idea of somebody who saved another world and then showed up in this back in his own reality again, and he has all these powers, but he's just really excited about like having a school trip and like getting to experience that kind of stuff because he missed all that while he was in the other world. And then he comes back and there's a death game that starts with his classmates, like a battle royale style death game, and he's just like, "Oh no, I'm going to use my magic to stop that." And that's like the first arc of it is just him using his abilities to just completely like mess with all these people and constantly blow their minds of like, this is impossible. How could I miss? He's like, you didn't miss. Here are all your, like, you shot these bullets. Like, how could this gun fail? Like, it didn't fail. I stopped it. Or like, he summons a dragon. And they're like, that's impossible. It's like, yeah, I mean, I understand why you would think that their dragons being real would be something like, but like, no, there's a dragon right there. And he's blowing up your ship. Sorry. That kind of story is fairly popular at the moment, and I don't dislike that. We'll see. We'll see if that becomes the hot new trend. I mean, honestly, the hot new trend is kicked out of the hero's party or the main party. That's still the fucking thing. Those aren't even isekai. That's just we're getting Beast Tamer this season. Beast Tamer is that. Beast Tamer is guy who they thought was useless and was just a mule and was taking up space, and they kick him out, and then he immediately forms a partnership with one of the strongest races of people and becomes incredibly strong, like immediately. Like as soon as, like the same chapter that he is kicked out, he is instantly doing better. Those stories, there's a bunch of those stories. There's one, I forget the name of it. I'm almost ready to talk about it on stream because I think I've almost read enough chapters of it. I'm just waiting, I think like one or two more. But basically, like, God told this dude, like, hey, until the time is right, I want you to follow your friends in the hero's party and support them. And so he did, and then he got kicked out, and he was like, great, later. There is that anime NPC. Yeah, there is something with NPC in the title, and I forget what it is. I haven't read that one. I forget the one I'm talking about here, but this one's fun. He saves a dragon girl, and then she's just like, okay, we're gonna hang out. And also, there's two stories about a guy who saves a dragon, but this one, they're similar, but there are two stories that I'm currently reading where both shows revolve around a dude who saved a dragon girl and is now one is stronger because of that, and the other one is just as strong. Let's see. Gotta wait for more on that one. Yeah, I can't remember. There's the guild one. That one's pretty good. There's a couple of like, this guild treated me like shit, and now I'm fucking cool as hell. And there's the Beastmaster anime that's coming. That I believe I'll be watching tomorrow or Monday. Beast Tamer. There's Beast Tamer, and there's also the Strongest Beastmaster, which are different manga. Oh yeah, no. There's one more anime that I haven't talked about here, which is Spy Family. Gotta talk about Spy Family. It's episode 13, so it's not season 2. This is part 2 of this. It's happening. We can finally fucking talk about Spy Family. Hey, guess what? There's a dog. There's a dog. I know his name. His name is not in this episode yet. But it's finally, they teased the dog earlier, in part 1, they teased that there was going to be a dog, and now we finally got that dog. The dog is here. It's coming here. Anyway, Lloyd is like, all right, we're getting a dog. Uh, um, and oh, but wait, Lloyd's got a mission, so Yor and Anya head off to go do that, and then he finds out that there are some students led by man named Keith, and these motherfuckers are gonna do some shit. And one of their ways they're gonna do some of their terrorism is that these fuckers. They're gonna like strap bombs to dogs, and they're gonna try to assassinate the prime minister via these dog bombs. These go fuck themselves. Why don't you strap a bomb to yourself, assholes? Don't put them on these dogs. So Anya finds this dog, this white dog, reads its mind, and for some reason the dog knows some stuff that's going on. And Anya's like, oh, that doesn't make any sense. Why does this dog know what's up? And then she follows the dog, and then, oops, I am now in the hideout of these terrorists, and they're going to kill her. But the dog helps her escape because the dog is predicting the future. Welcome, Silver Streak. Happy to have you here. I'm talking about episode 13 of Spy Family. It is the first part of the first episode of the second part of the show. But yeah, so in this found family, we have a spy, a assassin, a girl with telepathy, and now we are featuring a dog that can see the future. Silver Streak says that is the first anime that made me go, maybe I should actually watch this in like a decade. Yeah, so there is a little bit of anime bullshit in this series, right? It is not without its bullshit because it's a trope. It's got tropes in it. It's not terrible, but in a vacuum, the assassin, her being an assassin is played for laughs in relationship to her brother. It is definitely played for laughs and is a little weird, and their relationship is a little weird, but it's just weird if you were like in a vacuum watching it and you're like, huh, that's odd. If you if you've watched a lot of anime, it's not weird. Comparatively, it is very fine, but it is objectively a little odd, if that makes any sense. But yeah, it's good. And then Yor thinks that Keith, the terrorist, was trying to kidnap Anya, which, he wasn't, but this series has so many scenes in it where Yor misunderstands what's going on, but in a very positive and good way. It is great that Yor was like, oh, actually, fuck this dude. I'm going to kick the shit out of him. It's great that she thinks that and that she can respond to that kind of stuff and take care of business. But yeah, so more plot stuff there, more things going on. I mean, look, I love this show. I think the show, when it focuses too much on Anya trying to do her best in school, it loses me a little bit. I still like those episodes, but I don't think they should be the full focus of an episode. But I still love watching Yor do her shit and trying to be a good surrogate mom or stepmom, and I love watching, just like, I mean, the things I like probably the most are like Lloyd trying to be a good dad, even if it's a pretend good dad, and getting frustrated by like, sometimes being a spy means it's harder for him to juggle being a spy and a dad and complete his main mission, because all of it relates back to his mission, but like, he also doesn't want to disappoint this little girl and this woman that he somehow convinced to be his fake wife. And I like that. I like that he He is in the first season. We do see him. The first part of the season, we do see him like having moments where he is trying to do his best, and I think that's cool. But yeah, it's a good show. I would recommend it if you are like, is there an anime? Sounds like if Three's Company features a spy family. So it is like, because it is a pastiche of spy stuff, and it does rely on people lying to one another and trying to make things work, and then you add in the supernatural elements, of telekinesis, or telepathy, not telekinesis. Sorry, very specifically different. Telepathy. You add in telepathy, and now a dog that can predict the future. Like, it starts getting weird, but the basis of it is still this like found family based on lies. And also Anya being adorable and making very strong and fun reaction faces is very good too. It helps a lot. So yeah, so obviously that's a big thing. This season is just starting. We still have Chainsaw Man. We've still got, like, I haven't watched the episode of My Hero Academia because I usually watch those like as they come out. The prologue from Witch from Mercury, the new Gundam series, that prologue was a gut punch. And so the first episode is tomorrow. Then we've got the lighter stuff, like, for me, that I really like I'm the Villainess, I think, is really fun. We got Beast Tamer, as I said, which is a pretty light, like, overpowered main character with his gaggle of ladies that think he's great and want to help support him and his dreams. And then also Management of a Novice Alchemist is coming out, which is like a young girl gets a job in a rundown town, like in the boonies, and she's got to make it work. She's got to make the alchemy place of her dreams work. And there's a lot of other young ladies. There's also a show coming out I believe this week it comes out, called DIY, which is a high school girl show, where it's a bunch of girls who all want to do DIY projects in a club. And that seems adorable. And I'm very excited about that because I like DIY stuff. And I also like that kind of style of cute girls doing things. Cute girls doing cute things, the anime. I like those. And we didn't get a lot of those this year, so I'm excited to have that. Silver Shoe says, I have not watched any My Hero Academia, but I've heard people have been kind of upset about the current arc or previous arc in the manga. Something the villain is bad, boring, or something. So, here's the thing about My Hero Academia. It is inspired by Western comics, superhero comics. Like, it is definitely a Japanese manga and anime, by far. It is a high school with special powers anime, right? It's very much a shonen. But it takes a lot of its inspiration from Western superheroes, particularly like Marvel stuff and DC stuff. Like, you can look at a character and go, oh, that's their Superman. Okay. And then eventually there's a character who, minor spoilers, at one point this character has a new power and he's basically he was already kind of Spider-Man, and then he becomes even more Spider-Man. And you were like, oh, this character's just Peter Parker. Cool. But it's got like tournament arcs and villains that are like poignant and villains that are just shitty. And at least one villain that you're like, if this guy also turned out to be a hero later, I wouldn't be mad about it. Because he clearly went the wrong path, but he's like cool. Not like badass cool, but like nice. And you're like, oh. But yeah, so I'm not fully caught up on the manga, but the last few arcs have been... There was a character that everybody fucking knew had a backstory and was related to other characters. And everybody knew that shit. Everybody knew, hey, that guy is somebody's son that's important, and we're going to figure that shit out. But the last bit of My Hero Academia has been really focused on the villains. And every time they spend a lot of the show or and the manga focused on a particular group of villains and they kind of become the main characters, my enjoyment goes down a little bit because I like the balance to be more towards the heroes and less towards like when it's villains versus villains. To equate it to wrestling, which I don't think is probably going to be super helpful for you, Silver Streak. I don't mind it like when a good guy, a face, faces another good guy in a match because they can shake hands after it. And they can shake hands before, and you're like, oh, these two guys, they have a lot of respect for each other, but they've got, both of them really want to win, so it's okay. All right, you're talking to Raw's War alumni. Okay. Like, if Edge and Mick Foley were both faces, but they both want to be number one contender for a belt, right? But two heels, yeah, because you have to root for one of those heels. Like, I don't want to see heel Randy Orton face heel Triple H. Now, or in Raw's case, heel Jericho versus heel Triple H. They're both heels. It's not as interesting to me to watch two bad wrestlers, like bad guy wrestlers, fight each other. That doesn't do it for me the same way that watching like two good guy wrestlers fight each other, because you can still have like a handshake and it still be a good match and all that. So when My Hero Academia slips into the villains are going to fight other villains, I'm like, I'm not as into it. But it's still good. I just made my decision for that show that I don't watch that weekly. I watch that like in chunks. I'll watch like 3 or 4 episodes at a time. I marathon it. And that's just my own engagement with it. But I know other people, when that shit comes out, that's the first thing they watch on a Saturday. And I get that. I haven't watched Pop Team Epic for today. I watched the opening and then watched like about 5 minutes. But I had 3 animes to watch today. I had 3 episodes because all of my shows to talk about here on Saturday, none of them come out on Friday. They all come out on Saturday. So I had to watch and take notes on an hour and a half of anime. And then next week, I'll have a 4th show to watch. So Pop Team Epic, I'll watch whenever. I'll probably watch it tonight when the stream's over. That'll probably be my cool down, is to just watch and not have to take notes on that anime. Anyway, great questions from people. Good comments from folks. Season 2 of Pop Team Epic just started today. And that is good, weird stuff. That is a show that is for me. I got a couple shows that I watch and I don't talk about weekly. And they're just for me when I want to chat about them, because they are... Well, that show would be a little difficult to talk about. So instead, I won't. But I am done talking for tonight. How that transition. Thank you all so much, everybody who decided to join me tonight for the stream. If you were here for 10 minutes or for 2 hours, I appreciate it. We are going to raid. That is how we end every stream. We always end the stream with a raid. We're going to go find somebody in the community doing cool shit and go hang out with them. What we got here? What happened here? We got a new follow. Thank you very much. John says we always end a raid. And Wildfire just hit the follow button. Got a lot of new followers tonight. Appreciate that. Welcome, everybody. But yeah, I'm going to go see who we should go and give a raid to. We'll see who's doing some cool stuff out there. Whoops. And Silver Streak hit tier 1. That's 23 months. Thank you so much, Silver Streak. Appreciate that so much. Thank you for that. Saying Honor Renew is still broken for years, but now I'm here. I can hit the button. Thank you. Thank you so much for doing that. Appreciate it. All right, who are we going to go raid? We got to go see who to raid. I don't know. Let's see. I got to see who's doing stuff. I don't know who we've been raiding on here. I have not raided Chuff Money in a very long time. We're going to go raid Chuff Money, Anthony Gallegos, who is playing Fortnite with his wife. And so we're going to go raid Chuff, because I have not raided Mr. Money in quite some time. But thank you all so much for being here. I hope you have a great rest of your Saturday. I hope you come along on this raid, hang out, be cool. Please be cool and nice. in Anthony's stream. And I hope you have a great rest of your weekend. Monday night, I will continue this kit. We will finish the arms up on this and then figure out other things to build. Thank you all so much for being here. I hope you have a great rest of your night. Let's go watch some Fortnite. Goodbye, everybody. Goodbye, 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 goodbye.